In this episode, Magane-service. For days. And a man's waifu dreams coming true. Alright, that's all. See ya. Should I censor this? Like blur it out maybe? So anyways, the new girl, Hikayu, wasn't actually from a rom-com. She's actually from an eroge, and wow, that's even better. I mean, how many thirsty dudes would love it if their waifus from eroges came to life? I mean, that'd be a godsend, right? And that's how Onishi reacts when he sees his creations. I mean, he goes full-on creep mode, and it raises a bit of ethical issues. I mean, when you create someone, you're basically like their father, right? Or mother. And it just doesn't really sit well with me. You know, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. If some human rights organization found out, they'd probably go ballistic. But he brings up an interesting point when it comes to buffing up her abilities, because his teammates don't think that it's possible. Like, they're not going to accept it because, you know, it's really out of character for her to be like a fighting character because, you know, from her source material. But he brings up a fan disc, and what a fan disc is, it's basically like a sort of spin-off or side story, but it doesn't have to be related to like the original source material. So they can have her like fighting aliens or something, you know? This might not be a perfect parallel, but Takamachi Nanoha from Lyrical Nanoha was originally from an eroge called Triangle Heart. And the anime where she was a magical girl was incredibly popular, so I don't really think it's impossible for her to get these abilities. Yeah, but this scene was pretty funny. I mean, we got an interesting exchange between the creators and her, and it's basically really awkward for her because, you know, it's her entire life story, you know, her diaries being exposed for everyone to read. I mean, it's really embarrassing. So will they be able to turn Hikayu into a magical girl? Can it be that they want to replace Mamika? I don't know. We'll get to see this later on in the episodes. I mean, in the show. We find out that Altair is basically omnipotent. And I mean, how OP is that, right? She keeps having constant powers being added to her arsenal due to people, you know, creating content. But why is she, you know, someone who's from a small and grassroots kind of franchise, more powerful than characters from bigger franchises? I mean, I imagine that there's a bigger fan base for like Celestia or Alisteria, right? And, you know, there's fans constantly creating new content for them as well. But maybe it's how Altair was created, you know? She wasn't meant to be like a fighting character, I feel like. You know, Setsuna didn't really create her in that way. She was probably like a blank slate for, you know, the fan artists to project onto. So maybe that's the difference. But she knows what Meteora and the others are planning, and also Alisteria as well. I mean, this ability for her to constantly grow is just really problematic because, you know, if I were running the show, I'd temporarily shut down the internet just because there's no more new content for her to, you know, gain off of. But don't worry, you know, we can keep the otakus and the weeboos happy, you know. Crunchyroll and like illegal streaming sites, that could be kept open, you know, just to keep them at bay. But everything else will be filtered. I mean, wait, what is this, North Korea? I mean, this is going to be a problem for the good guys because they won't be able to get the drop on Altair. Speaking of getting the drop on someone, Alisteria is doing something totally unexpected. I mean, she's working with Magane. It's just really strange because these two have like vastly different worldviews, you know, like what, the episode 6 or something, they had this big conflict, and Magane has lied to her so many times in the past. So it's weird that Alisteria would suddenly approach her, but you know, she asks her to make things more fun. Like, what does that exactly mean? She's defected from Altair's side, but you know, she's not exactly working with Meteora and the others. I feel like right now she's like a wild card. But her creator believes in her enough to actually continue buffing her abilities after he meets up with Matsubara and the others. In the previous episodes, we saw how close Matsubara is to Celestia, and it's the same way with Takarada and Alisteria. I mean, even though she's not exactly helping them out, he has a feeling that she's gonna plan like a sort of rebellion or a revolt, and he's even more sure that instead of honorably attacking Altair from like head on, she's gonna do something more underhanded and sneaky. I mean, it's really cool to see that, like the level of understanding these creators have for the creations. I think it's a while before we get any crazy action going on because Altair is willing to let them carry out their plans. I mean, she's not interested in doing a preemptive attack against them because she wants to basically let them find out how futile their plan was before she crushes them. I mean, she's totally coming from a position of arrogance. I mean, how can you not, right? I mean, when you constantly have new abilities being added to every day, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You feel like you're untouchable. Now, for me, instead of doing weekly reviews for ReCreators, I'm gonna choose to make like a video covering multiple episodes in case something happens that week. You know, there's only so many times I can say, I don't really know what's gonna happen, but looking forward to next week before, you know, it kind of gets boring for me. You know, I'll admit it's burning me out. It's starting to feel like a chore rather than, you know, coming from a place of like passion and excitement. So yeah, there probably won't be a review next week unless something really exciting happens. But anyways, what'd you guys think about this episode? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.